Welcome to the LeaderTreks Youth Ministry Trainingcast with Doug Franklin, where we help youth workers like yourself be intentional. Welcome to the LeaderTreks Youth Ministry Trainingcast. I'm Taryn.
And I'm Doug.
And we're excited to be with you. Now, fun fact, this is actually a reshoot. We've tried shooting this one before.
I don't know the fun part of that fun fact, but it is a reshoot.
And it's appropriate that Doug tells me this because the last time we shot this, we had this playful argument about whether or not structure was interesting and exciting and fun. And I was definitely the winner of this argument, talking about how we were going to have such a great time in this session and talking about how
it's that fake Christian enthusiasm. We're really excited.
Yeah, but the reality is that I am actually excited, and so I hope that you're actually excited.
I'm excited too. I'll tell you why I'm excited. Not because of any of that fake stuff, but when youth ministries talk about being stuck, and I'm telling you, the phone rings off the hook here with youth ministries saying, gosh, we're doing the same things that we've been doing the last few years, but we're not getting the same results. Hear this all the time. Or, hey, we're just kind of treading water. We're not getting anywhere. We got no traction. Nothing's really happening. Growth is eluding youth ministries all the time. And I think it has a lot to do with structure. Even though right now, probably people are watching this going, what is structure? What are they talking about? The structure is how you organize your youth ministry, what events you put in and what events you take out, and how you lead and operate, execute those events. That's what we're talking about.
Exactly. A lot of times we refer to structure as programming. It's the things that we do. It's when we do them. But I think what we're really going to get into today is the why behind our programming, and that's how we know if we've got a good structure or a not so good structure. But Doug, I'd love for you to start out talking about why youth ministry structures should be simple.
Well, they should be simple because everybody is busy, and by everybody, I mean your students are busy. You guys all know that, right? Your parents are busy. They have barely enough time to either get their kids to youth ministry or know that they're going to youth ministry. Adult volunteers are way busy. Our church buildings and our facilities are busy. We got a lot of busyness going on, and what we're trying to do sometimes is throw a lot of activities in to look like we're busy because we all value busyness. But it doesn't work in youth ministry. What happens is that quantity over quality loses every time. And there's a reason for that, and it's called alignment. Mm-hmm. You get traction in youth ministry when you have a purpose for the event. Mm-hmm. Students know that purpose. Adult volunteers are trained and know that purpose, and mom and dad know that purpose. And if you want to go one step further, church leadership knows that purpose. And when you're all working together at the same time, going in the same direction, that's when you get traction. That's when you start to get moving. And that's actually the exciting part of today, is that it's actually the way you get moving. And the problem is that we're doing a lot of activities because we did them last year, because they fill the calendar, because they're what's expected, and we're not really asking ourselves, is that working, or does that have a purpose, or does anybody know why they're coming to that event? And I think when we really take a step back and we say, okay, what's the structure of our ministry? Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the purpose, and how can everybody get on the same page? Then we could be talking about really growing our youth ministry.
So Doug, tell me this. What's a typical purpose, or what should be some of the purposes that I have in my different programming events in my youth ministry?
A lot of people will look at this a lot of different ways. This is just the way I look at it. This is not right or wrong. This is just my idea. And there's a lot of good ideas out there, by the way. I like to think of three things that we do in youth ministry: reach, grow, and go. These are just the three main things we do in youth ministry. Reach is outreach. We're evangelizing. We're sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with students that don't know him. And then a grow events are, we're helping students that know Christ, that call themselves his followers. We're helping them growing by discipling them. That's what we're doing. We're helping them growing closer into the image of Christ. And then go events are helping our students understand their spiritual gifts, giving them ownership of the ministry. This is the student leadership part that I love so much. And letting them use their gifts to lead the ministry. churches typically have just two types of youth ministries. One is the kind of ministry to students, or a church will have students that have a ministry to their world. And I'm talking about the go part, letting students really own the ministry so that they can be ministers now, today, to their peers in the world. So reach, grow, go is the structure that I always think about when I think about the three main things that the three main purposes that we're supposed to be doing in youth ministry.
Okay, Doug, say I've got a typical youth ministry event. I've got a game night. And part of one of the purposes of this game night is outreach. I want new students to come in and be a part of our ministry, see what's happening, feel comfortable. But the other aspect of this game night is that it's led by my students. So is this a reach event and a go event?
Well, I think that, one, great having a game night, a lot of fun, a lot of cool things. Get the DYM game app, my suggestion. It's a great game app. We use it here in the office, actually. It's a lot of fun. If you're going to do a game night, I would do one purpose only, reach. And this is why, because we love to do dual purposes. Like, hey, we'll do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do this. The problem is that means that everybody is not on the same page because everybody has a different purpose for the event. Just do reach. Just get students to understand that this is an event where they bring their friends. And you're going to make it great. You're going to have a great atmosphere. You're going to have the DYM game app. You're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be really great. And just have them just come and enjoy just that. And they know that their job is to get their friends there. They know that they can invite their friends and everything's good. The adult volunteers, on the other hand, they come to the game night and they know it's a reach event. So they know that their job is inviting. They're just getting to know students, asking questions, and inviting students to come back to youth group. That's all they have to do. They're super busy. They just came from work. They're giving up a Friday night with the family. They're going to come help with the game night. And they only need to know one thing that they have to do, because if they have to have two things to do, it's too much. It's just too much. One thing to do, just invite. Ask questions and invite students to come to youth group. And then parents know, hey, listen, if my kids are coming tonight, I should encourage them and challenge them to bring their friends. I should say, hey, can I pick somebody else up for you? Can I bring somebody? Whatever it is. They could encourage their friends that have kids that are high school age who don't go to church. Hey, bring your kids to this thing. This is a lot of fun at our church. So when everybody's on the same page, going in the same direction, and only has one simple thing for them to do, they can do it. And then everybody is going in the same direction at the same time, pulling the same weight. What's going to happen? Good stuff is going to happen. You're going to grow.
Ooh, Doug, I want to go back to something that you said just a little bit earlier. You said that at a reach event, an adult volunteer has one job, and that is to invite. What I think is really compelling about this structure is that my adult volunteers could know their job description at each kind of event. So if a reach event, if their focus is to invite, what might be my adult volunteer's job description at a grow event or a go event?
Well, if they're at a grow event, they're going to be discipling. I'm going to guess we're going to be doing some small group time. They're going to be teaching and facilitating and challenging and leading students through application. That really requires training, because most adult volunteers have not been discipled themselves, and so they don't necessarily know how to be discipled. Just because you gave them a talk sheet doesn't mean that they know how to be a discipler. So there needs to be really good training. But if there's really good training, they'll know how to build meaningful relationships. They'll know how to share their own story of redemption. They'll know how to ask deeper, challenging questions. They'll know how to make applications with students, and they'll know how to hold students accountable. When they're doing those things, and that's intense. You got to give them a lot of time to prepare. You got to give them a lot of time to be able to do that, because if you're going to ask challenging questions of 5 students, that's 25, 30 minutes just to ask one question, right? 2 questions. So we want to give them enough time, all those kind of things. So there's really good training that we can give them to be disciplers. And when they have that training, then they know in that environment, they are to go deep. And then, of course, when you think about a grow event, in a grow event, they're supposed to be just facilitators and mentors. They're just supposed to release students to lead. Ask questions, get involved, serve with the students, actually do what the students tell you to do, which is kind of fun. You can do all those things and allow them to be the leaders. You can keep kind of nudging them and encouraging them to move forward. And so when they're at any one of those 3 events and they know what that event's purpose is, they know exactly what to do. I can tell you something, Taryn. You can walk into any youth group and you can figure out in less than 10 seconds whether or not adults get this or not. Because if you walk into a youth group and you see adults standing along the side of the walls, and they'll always be standing like this for some reason, their arms are behind them and they're leaning against the wall and they're talking to other adults in a group. If you see that in your youth ministry, you can bet that your adult volunteers don't know the purpose of that meeting. They don't know why they're in that room. And when they don't know why they're there, they're not going to be working with you. They're almost going to be working against you.
Yeah.
And that can lead to a lot of frustrations when we're a youth pastor. When I was a youth pastor and my adults were not helping me, I got so angry. I got so frustrated with them. But then I realized, do they even know why we're doing this? Yeah. Sure, they wanted to volunteer and be here, but I never took the time to explain what we were doing, why it was important, or train them to actually utilize this time for real impact. And when you do that, man, your youth ministry will walk away from frustration. It'll walk away from sitting in the mud, and it'll actually begin to gain traction and move forward because everybody's working for the same thing. That's why the clarity and the alignment of the simple structure is so important in youth ministry.
All right, Doug, I think we got time for one last question. And the one I want to focus on is if I want to implement this system, if I want to put reach, grow, go in my ministry, I want to train my adult volunteers, is there an easy way for me to communicate what it is that we're doing and when we're doing it?
Get out the markers. Get out the crayons. I color code everything when I'm thinking about this. So when I have reach events, they're always red. When I have grow events, they're always green. You know, when I have go events, they're always yellow or something like that. So even when you're doing a calendar, you can color code it. When you're making announcements to students, you can say, okay, we got the fall retreat coming up, everybody. You guys know this is a reach event, so you know your job, right? Everybody knows what they're doing. This is a reach event. When you're doing the you're doing the winter retreat and it's kind of a smaller grow event, you can say, guys, this is a grow event. You know, if you sign up for this, you better be serious about bringing your Bibles and going deep with God because this is a grow event. So everybody knows with just 3 words, everybody knows what's going on. And then you give that calendar to mom and dad and it's color coded and they're going to know in a minute what that event is all about and why their students need to be at it. So I like to get out the markers. I like to color code. I like to think about being able to communicate this so we have a common language, so everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what's going on, and think about the simplicity of training your adult volunteers. So now I'm just training my adult volunteers on 3 things. Just 3 things. And I can keep asking them, how you doing on the reach stuff? How you doing on the grow stuff? How you doing on the go stuff? And they can easily respond to that because we all have a same common language and we all know what we're talking about. That's why structure is exciting because it moves you forward.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I was hoping that these guys were going to really get the point that this helps us to do ministry the way we've always wanted to do ministry. Reach, grow, go. Like Doug said, this is an idea. It's a concept. You can personalize those terms. You can make them your own. The critical thing is that every event in your ministry has a single purpose and everybody is on the same page. They know what they're supposed to do at that particular event. But we do hope that this has been fun. We hope it's been helpful. And if you're looking for more information about this system and how to implement it in your ministry, give us a call. We'd love to talk it through some more.
We'd love to help you. Remember, keep it simple.
Until next time, we'll see you on the LeaderTreks Youth Ministry Trainingcast.
Thanks.